One more thing. So there's a game I played. It's called Wolfstride, and
Is
take a
that
Google.
in black and white?
Yes, it is black and white, highly stylistic, and you are Kamina from that alternate universe where him and Kitan are vice cops, basically. That's you as a protagonist. You're Kamina in a Wolfwood suit. Go check that out. Um, and you are walking around a world where you are not the pilot of a mecha, but you are the manager of its team, and you are basically doing what you need to get the robot repaired and finding things, and you're doing all the management stuff. And then when it gets into the robot fighting, you get to pilot the robot. So yeah, it's called Wolfstride. The game is oozing with style. The artwork is fucking cool, and it's got like tons of voice acting, and the whole thing was just like, oh shit, this is. I saw the trailer and I was like, yep, okay, you are pulling me in on this like style and this aesthetic and the mecha fighting, where there's a turn-based robot fighting system, and you have to kind of like move in and out and use action points and movement points, and all of that stuff. A little tactical thing going on. That shit's cool. Unfortunately, when
I could hear it the whole time. The whole time you were talking. I'm like, oh, because he's describing all this good stuff, but he doesn't have like that smile in his voice.
Oh, you could hear when there's a butt coming. I know.
I hear it.
Oh God, I want to like it. I really do. Oh man. Okay. Well, look.
Right.
So there's minor grievances, and then there's a larger one. So the minor grievances are that robot fighting, I've played about 6 hours of the game. And I've fought 2 tutorial fights and 1 real fight.
Oh, yeah! That's great!
The amount of running around and shopping in the grocery stores to talk to the characters and stuff that you're doing is... I like when you have stuff to do between missions in the world, but there's so much here that what this actually is reminiscent of is a visual novel that breaks it up with a little bit of robot fights every now and then. And it's reminiscent of playing Melty Blood story mode, where you're like, no, you're playing a VN right now, and then after a while, you're going to get into the next fight. So, I was really like and the game actually has a moment where it seems like it promises, don't worry, the pace will pick up. Like a narrator literally said to me, don't worry, the pace will pick up when I last touched it. But that's one thing, right? 13 Sentinels admittedly lets you jump back and forth between these as much as you want to. And the structure of its narrative allows that to be possible. But in this case, you are locked into all of the story, and in a lot of cases, the story it's not much. You're just running around, and there's a lot of empty places you're running from. So every location, you kind of like you run through like a street that's usually empty. There it might not be, and then you get to a destination. You talk to this person, and then you'd want to fast travel back to your next point, but then you don't. You have to do the run back, and it adds so much nothing, unfortunately. There's a lot of fluff and filler going on. So there's that. But goddamn, it looks and sounds great, and it's doing its thing. So there's that, and then the thing that just... Oh boy. There's while it's being stylish and doing cool things,
Right.
it's going for jokes that don't land, and it sucks because if you're funny and you're writing funny things, and it's like I don't know, it's like me and Min have like talked about like pretty much like how our senses of humor just don't mesh, and like there's no getting around it. Like he goes one way on a joke, I go another way, or whatever the case is, right? In this thing, they go one way with the jokes, and if you are somebody who was like, I don't find that funny, or I don't like this character, or whatever, you like, if it's a game where you can ignore something that's annoying to you, that'd be one thing. But there's a character that's a part of your team here that you find, and it's a robot. The robot's name is Peepoo, and he exists to make Peepoo jokes all day.
Okay.
And he talks screaming at the top of his lungs, pretty much for every line delivery. And every time there's he's gonna swear or cuss, he just yells the word pee or poo, and like it's like take the worst type of Teddy type of character and shove him in your face and make it that you have to deal with this constantly.
It's the pee-poo man.
It's a constant. It's a fucking constant. And it's like you're going through some of the... I'm mashing at a point to be like, oh my god, is this monologue ever going to end? And it... Now, I know what you're thinking, right? That's fucking dumb and hilarious. I'm in.
No, I'm not thinking that.
Okay. Because I know some people are, because this is the first time they're hearing it, and so they're like, that sounds hilarious and dumb, I'm laughing. No, I implore you to go, like, sit and expose yourself to it for a prolonged period of time and see whether or not you think this lands after constant amounts of this dialogue. It's
so, you know what?
Brutal.
You know what this reminds me of, like, directly, and one other game somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember me talking about Damon X Machina?
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And like my takeaway was like, man, these mech missions are cool. It's a shame that there's like 15 to 20 minutes of terrible story in between every single one. But the one that really stands out the most is Borderlands. So Borderlands 3 is an absolutely excellent loot shooter that plays really well. That every time it comes up on Steam sale, I'm like, maybe I should get it. And then I remembered the time that I bought it and played it for 30 minutes and then refunded it because every single line of dialogue is the most embarrassing, falls flat fucking cringe.
Okay.
And I pointed that out on social media, and I got like 100 people saying that they love that game, but they play it exclusively with the sound completely off and listening to this podcast.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay.
Right? And it's like, god damn it.
Because I know those of you who are hearing what I'm saying and are thinking to yourselves, but Wooly, that sounds awesome and hilarious. And it's like, no. Here's what you're not, like, you're not realizing that what you have is someone from Foam Adventure has joined the party.
Oh god, oh god.
Never mind the fact that, well, there's a character called Foam Gun, mind you, but that's neither here nor there. Foam Adventure has joined the party, and it's not like, it doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that it's Foam Adventure. It's like, it's unironic, Foam Adventure is here, and this is what we're going for. And I'm like, man, oh god,
People don't know what Foam Adventure is. You can Google search it. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's safe for work.
And if you hear that and you know what I'm talking about and you think that sounds awesome, then this is for you. Then you're the target audience. It's going to work. But this is something that I was like, oh boy, oh, I don't like this part of it. and okay, not to, you know, it's a character, and then the rest of the game is going on and doing its thing. But some of the other characters are a little like there's a lack of self-awareness on that character that then translates over to some of the others where you're like, oh man, I basically am like, if I have to spend a lot of time with you outside of these robot fights, if it was super enjoyable time, then that'd be great. But that's unfortunately not the way I'm feeling here. Um, there are some cool characters that you're like, I want to go, like you go chill at the bar and have some drinks between fights, and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's have some rounds and just character develop and all that's great, you know?
Shoot
But
the
then
shit, all that good stuff.
yeah, you know, like that's all fine, or go down to the fucking scrapyard and, you know, talk to whatever. There's some people that you don't mind talking to and spending time with in the visual novel between these far and few in between fights. But the commitment to these types, of which there's Peepoo, there's your rival pig that you fight, who's like your first rival in the game, and he's also a bit of a unaware that the way he's talking and the gags he's doing are not landing kind of energy, and it's like, oh man, oh, some of these gags, they're not landing.
You know, I have video games. Like, humor's difficult. Humor's really, really hard. It's one of the hardest emotional states to evoke in somebody. It's rare. There's a reason there's an entire craft to it. That's just people yelling at an audience to make them laugh, right? Writing humor is hard. Writing humor in a game is almost impossible. It's easily the hardest medium for humor. And if you're not really, really good at writing and writing humor, you should probably not, because it is like a lead weight around your story or your theme or your fucking thing's neck. Like, bad comedy is awful.
I think that's why in a lot of cases when there is a gag, you don't see, and in a lot of games they don't go yes-anding it into a whole scene. It'll be one line or two, it'll be a little bit of throwaway, and at best it'll land and you'll love it, or at worst it'll be really bad and you'll forget about it. It's forgettable, right? And I was describing this to Punch Mom, and I was thinking about how to word it, and I was like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like when Teddy shows up in P4 and you're like, oh no, oh boy.
And you just start recoiling.
And you're like, oh, please, please, please. And then it's like, okay,
all right,
it gets better, and it's not like, we're not dedicating anywhere near as much time to these bits as you were worried we might. You know? We pull back, he gets better, and then you're like, yeah, this is fine. Ultimately. And to me, I'm like, yeah, okay. Teddy is there, he's a part of the team, and it gets better, and then you don't have to have these massive commitments.
I actually thought Morgana was not as successful as Teddy because there's too much Morgana.
Yeah. Teddy's Morgana's your partner. Morgana's with you the whole way through.
Teddy doesn't hang out with your house and with you every single day.
But the idea of this though is very similar in that it's like, once you introduce this angle of things, you have to decide how to commit to this, how much you want to commit to it. And like, if you're going, and in this case, the commitment is extreme, I feel, because it's like, it's these full-on, huge, long scenes that play out that I just couldn't get through fast enough, really. And then it's funny too, because like the game has a lot of art in it, and like when you press start to skip a cutscene, like there's a message that literally says like, every time you skip a cutscene, an artist dies. Would you like to kill one more?
Yeah.
Give
me more cutscenes to skip, please.
That's the skip cutscene message, you know. But like the cool shit that it's doing is very stylish and cool. Gotta bookend.
I wanna. This is way off topic, but your that loading screen tip reminded me Um, I was talking to somebody recently about how I cannot play Genshin Impact and how Genshin Impact keeps getting lots of new stuff and lots of people on my timeline are playing Genshin Impact, but I can't play it.
Hmm.
Just can't do it. It's like a legitimate like addiction danger.
Hmm.
Like the not having characters in an action game is just like a knife to my throat of like buy more packs. Just can't do it. Won't play it. And when I made that decision to uninstall it, I was hit with the most disgusting anti-uninstall message, which is Paimon, like the character begging you not to uninstall the game and saying you'll come back, right? Or is it Amber? I forget. It's one of them.
Yeah.
And like then they send you emails as Paimon asking you if
Yeah.
you're gonna come back. And it's
Give
like
Microsoft Edge a chance.
and it like I still get fucking emails from it.
Hell yeah.
That is like, hey, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, you haven't even tried the new Microsoft browser. Come on. Give it a chance.
That's
Or
like some people probably come back as a result of that, but every time I see one of those, it just reinforces my desire to stay away because of how obviously manipulative it is.
oh yeah, how dare you delete your Bonzi buddy, you know? Like the Gone from Bleach PS2 save file is Gone walking happily 3D model, and when you go to delete him, he quakes with fear and he gets really afraid that you're about to erase him from the save file. It's one of the earliest instances I can remember, you know. Excuse me.
Hey, for context, Wolves, I found the image. I'm gonna send it to you. I just posted it in the chat for everybody to see as well.
Oh my, yep, there you go, crying. Do you really want to uninstall it? Tears. Oh no, the characters will be so sad. Don't do it. Yeah, fucking Christ. But
Fuck off.
yeah, in this game, you know, there's so much going on that is very enjoyable and likable and stuff that I really want more of. And then there's padding out for time.
Man, there's something about now the more that I think about it, the fact that they have a custom message for you skipping a cutscene makes me feel that they were well aware that people were going to skip these cutscenes.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna reload your save or, you know, try something differently or whatever, if you're retreading over progress, for sure, you know. Especially when there's stuff where like there's a calendar and there's some conversations or like cutscenes that you trigger that will last for a certain number of calendar days. So if you walk up to the same person and you don't know if they've changed their dialogue or not because for this week they're stuck in this thing, you're going to trigger a cutscene, which you have to skip. It's like, yeah, I've already seen this conversation. So you do.
Wait,
but it's like,
really? And then they still, oh God, come on.
yeah. So there's that. There's like little minor other things, but like there's a point in which, okay, so there's a device that is like basically used in things where the screen cuts to black and you just see the text of the person talking.
Sure.
And you see that and it's usually an impactful like statement being said or something. You know, in anime or in games, when that happens, like it's just the line and everything else is dark. Focus on the line; it's important. So this game does that a lot, and it possibly a bit too much because like the impact of it, the fourth, fifth, sixth time you see it, it doesn't hit as hard as the narrative is going. But there's a point at which a fairly serious one of those, like a couple of serious lines about like the future, are being read by Peepoo in Peepoo's voice while the screen is all black and it's just the text. And I was like, okay, all right. And then, you know, and then the last two lines kind of cut back to a different character who sounds more serious and appropriate for the thing, and you're like, ah, okay, right? But the moment I'm hearing the Peepoo voice over the full black text and the dramatic reading, I just kind of had a moment of like, I don't know, I can't deal. I don't know if I can deal with that. I don't think I can. But the game is goddamn fucking stylish, and I enjoy the simple but fun robot fights, and I just yeah, I wish that it kind of had not everything. Either have it in a way where you restrict a lot of that, tighten it up, faster travel, more fights, or 13 Sentinels where feast and famine. You can eat as much as you want, and when you're sick of battles, you can fucking switch over to the story, and then when you're sick of story, you can switch over to the analysis or back to your battles. You know. The game is Wolfstride, and it's still very cool. And I think take a look at what you're seeing on the Steam page for it and stuff. And here's what's important to note, and this is probably a takeaway that you can keep going through this entire podcast. The game is reviewing very positively. Most reviews are like loving it. In fact, there's only of the 200 or so. Only 10 are negative. The rest are very positive, and they would be because of the cool things. So my opinion, I have, as you all know, talking about all these games and these movies, I have shit taste. Don't listen to what I have to say about anything. You should know better. Woolie coming in with the bad takes again. Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't I don't know shit.
I don't know. That sounds like.
But that's it. There is a very clear the people didn't feel that way. A lot of people found it funny and dug the thing. So that's that. But this is what I felt playing through it. But at least go.
Would you say you have Peepoo taste? Your taste is Peepoo.
See, you didn't scream it loud enough. You didn't hold the line pee for a really long time.
No.
Yeah. Foam Adventure.